5 ways to get rich. If you feel like you work hard, fulfill your obligations, see the money coming in, but financially you've remained in the same place for a long time, this content is for you. Because, in most cases, the problem isn't a lack of effort or necessarily how much you earn. The problem is that you maintain the same financial behaviors month after month, even when they clearly don't work. And that's uncomfortable to admit. It's easier to blame your salary, the economic climate, or the lack of opportunities than to face the fact that the way you handle money is keeping you stuck. Many people say they want to get rich, but in practice, they live with the mentality of someone just trying to make it to the next paycheck. It's as if each month is a labyrinth. You enter, do what you need to do, get tired, get frustrated, and when you think about taking the next step, you realize you're in the same place. You work on autopilot, complete tasks, pay bills, but never stop to think about the complete picture of your financial life. The money comes into the account, and the first reaction is to put out the most urgent fires: the credit card bill, the overdue invoice, an emergency that arose out of nowhere. And while you resolve these crises, little is left to plan, invest, or build something that truly grows over time. And when there's something left over, the almost natural tendency is to spend it to alleviate the weight of daily life. A purchase to feel better on that exhausting day. Lunch out to compensate for accumulated stress. An item you didn't even really want, but that gives you a momentary feeling of reward. Each expense seems innocent in isolation, but together it creates a pattern of emotional escape. Money ceases to be a tool for building and becomes a buffer in life. It serves to calm anxiety, mask frustration, give a sense of control, when in reality real control is absent. The problem is that, month after month, this strategy doesn't really work. The relief is temporary, almost imperceptible, but you get used to it. You get used to living with small pleasures as an escape valve, without realizing that you are consuming resources that could be building something solid for the future. The month ends, the money runs out, and the cycle begins again. Same routine, same automatic decisions, same feeling of frustration at the end of the month. And it's not because you're not capable, because you don't try hard enough, or because you don't want to work. It's because you're trapped in an invisible pattern, the absence of clear direction. Without direction, all effort is inefficient, all hard work dissipates in the same place as before, and the feeling of real progress never arrives. And worse, with each repetition, this cycle becomes normal. You start to believe that this is the natural way to live, that constant effort without growth is just part of life. And this creates a silent but devastating effect. While you pretend to seek wealth, in practice you maintain a pattern of emotional and financial survival. You are busy, active, tired, but you are not progressing. And the mind, accustomed to the cycle, no longer even notices that it exists until reality hits hard, years pass, and financial life remains exactly the same. Wealth doesn't begin with a stroke of luck, nor with a secret investment that nobody knows about. It begins when you understand that income and wealth are different things. Income is what comes in every month. Wealth is what remains. It's what accumulates, grows, and continues to exist even when you stop working for a while. There are people with high incomes living on the edge, completely dependent on the next paycheck. If the source dries up for a few months, everything collapses. That's not financial security. It's a fragile structure sustained by habit. Another common mistake is believing that earning more comes first, followed by control. In practice, the opposite happens. Those who don't know exactly where their money goes each month aren't prepared to multiply it. And this is rarely a lack of knowledge, it's discomfort. Controlling money forces you to look at waste, impulses, and poorly thought-out decisions. And many people prefer not to look. But without control, there is no conscious choice, only reaction. And those who react to money never build anything solid. There is also a silent pattern that sabotages any attempt to get rich, using money as an emotional regulator. Spending to alleviate anxiety, to feel like you belong, to prove something, or to compensate for a bad day. Money becomes anesthesia. It ceases to be a tool for building wealth and becomes a temporary relief. People who build wealth learn to separate emotion from financial decision-making. They understand that money doesn't fill a void, doesn't resolve insecurity, and doesn't correct internal dissatisfaction. When emotion and money mix, clarity disappears. And without clarity, there is no progress. Another critical point is the time horizon. Most people make decisions thinking only about the present. at the end of the month, sometimes next year. Those who build wealth think in long cycles. They think in years. This requires giving up small satisfactions today to avoid big problems tomorrow. It requires consistency, patience, and the ability to accept that real progress is rarely visible at the beginning. Wealth almost never makes a sound while it is being built. It grows in the silence of decisions repeated correctly. And perhaps the most overlooked point of all is this: money doesn't sustain itself. It doesn't grow by luck, it doesn't remain by chance, and it's definitely not created solely through effort or intelligence. For it to last, you need to become someone capable of handling it. And that goes far beyond knowing how to create a spreadsheet or invest in the right place. It's about emotional and mental maturity. When money grows faster than your maturity, the result is almost always loss. No matter how much you earn, if you can't control impulses, manage priorities, or maintain discipline, the money will disappear as quickly as it arrived. Money amplifies who you already are. If you are impulsive, every penny that comes in will be spent impulsively. Unnecessary purchases, hasty financial decisions, paying high prices for momentary satisfaction. If you are disorganized, money disappears amidst lost bills, late payments, fines, and poorly planned commitments. Even small mistakes become big problems because money acts like a magnifying glass. It highlights existing internal patterns. That's why so many people who earn a lot end up broke. It's not because the market conspired against them. It's because they weren't prepared to grow along with their wealth. And this applies to any scale. It could be someone earning 1,000 reais or millions. Without emotional discipline, without a long-term vision, and without the maturity to handle what money offers, everything is lost. True wealth is not just about having resources, but about being able to sustain those resources without them consuming you or getting out of your control. Wealth accompanies personal growth. It requires patience, self-awareness, and consistency in habits. Without these, money doesn't last. It comes, shines, gives a feeling of freedom, and then disappears, leaving the same old frustration, only now with the illusion that the problem was external, when in reality the emptiness was inside you. And that's precisely where the biggest difference lies. Those who understand this begin to use money as a tool for growth. It becomes a reflection of what you are already building internally: discipline, maturity, vision. Only then does money cease to be fleeting and become an ally. Without this parallel personal growth, any gain is temporary, and the feeling of financial insecurity never goes away, no matter how much you earn. If you want to put this into practice, do something simple today. Mentally review the last month of your finances. Observe where you spent money out of habit, emotion, or impulse, and not out of real need. Choose just one behavior that clearly holds you back and consciously decide not to repeat it in the next cycle. You don't need to change everything at once. You need to stop insisting on what has already proven not to work. Now tell me, what part of this bothered you the most while you were listening? What behavior did you recognize in yourself? Write it in the comments. Often, acknowledging it in words is the first step towards change. And if you want to learn how to handle money in a mature way, without illusions, easy promises, or fantasy, subscribe to the channel. Here, the conversation is direct, realistic, and focused on building something that truly lasts.